Have you ever thought you could run straight up a snowy cliff without any gear? You would pass out in 10 meters. But Bigfoot? To him, that is just a morning walk. Or even crazier, imagine you accidentally overhear Bigfoot and the Yeti making a secret plan. The two biggest bosses of nature meeting up to hunt humans. Not fighting, but teaming up. One owns the woods, the other owns the ice. When they shake hands, we have nowhere to hide. All your worst fears are in this video. Stop kidding yourself. What humans can do is just a joke to this creature. He is faster, stronger, and meaner than anything we know. And trust me, Bigfoot wants your attention. I am John. Let's watch the scariest clips of Bigfoot ever caught on camera. And let's pray this giant guest never knocks on your door. Gigantic Bigfoot footprint. Welcome to the desolate peaks of the Andes. Up here, humans are nothing but tiny specks of dust, and this video is about to prove exactly who the real master of this land is. Just look at that crowd gathering around that massive hole. They aren't staring at a bomb crater or a natural sinkhole. They are frozen in silence before a single footprint. Just one step, yet it is massive enough to be a bathtub. The contrast in size here is honestly laughable. Look at the man in the blue shirt walking right next to it. His stride looks pathetic and weak compared to the length of this track. If the creature that made this stood up, it wouldn't just be taller than us. It would be as massive as a semi-truck standing on two legs. Now, pay attention to the depth of this print. The ground in this volcanic region isn't soft mud. It is rock and compacted ash, hard as concrete. To create an impression this deep and this sharp, right down to the individual toes, the weight pressing down had to be in the tons. Skeptics, as always, are screaming that it is fake, claiming someone dug it out as a prank. That is just naive. Look at how the soil naturally crumbles at the edges and how the bottom is compressed flat. Nobody hauls pickaxes up to 4,000 meters in thin air just to dig a geometrically perfect hole and leave. This is the mark of a powerful march. This creature walked through here with absolute confidence, crushing the hard earth without a care in the world. He left this mark as a cold reminder. This is my home, and you are just uninvited guests. Now, imagine for a second, with that terrifying weight, if this foot didn't land on the ground, but stepped on you instead, how long do you think your bones would last? The result certainly wouldn't be pretty. The death race at Mt. Hood, in the rugged wilds of Mt. Hood, Oregon, the line between hunter and prey is thinner than you think. And in this footage, that line just got obliterated by a terrifying sprint. Forget those blurry, shaky clips you're used to. This is the clearest proof of biological superiority you will ever see. Look at that slope right in front of you. It is steep, covered in loose red dirt and tangled roots. For any human athlete or mountaineer, this is a nightmare that would require crawling on all fours to survive. But for that creature, it is nothing but a playground. Look at the mechanics of his movement. He isn't climbing, he is gliding up the hill. Each stride is absurdly long, swallowing meters of ground in a single touch. Those massive, elongated arms swing like powerful pendulums, generating enough torque to launch that heavy body upwards with zero effort. Don't be naive enough to think this is just a guy in a costume. Try putting on a heavy fur suit that blinds your peripheral vision, then sprinting full speed up a landslide area like this. You would snap your neck by the second step. This absolute balance, this explosive muscle power, that is something nature only gifts to the true ruler of the forest. But the scariest part isn't the speed, it is the attitude. He never looks back, not once. There is no panic, no fear of the pursuers behind him. He knows those slow humans with their useless guns have zero chance of catching up. Is he running away? No, he is luring. He is pulling those curious fools away from safety, leading them straight into that dark tree line up ahead. And once you cross that threshold to chase him, congratulations, you have officially just put yourself on the menu. Bigfoot spotted, CCTV. If the creature in the last video scared you with lightning speed, this next one will stop your heart with his cold, dead calm. Check the timestamp, July 31st, 2025. This footage is fresh, raw, and impossibly sharp. The setting is a dense forest in North America. A motion-activated trail camera triggers, and from behind a pine tree, a sheer wall of meat steps out. Look at his swagger. No sneaking, no hunching, no running away. He walks with the dignified, deliberate pace of a king strolling through his own private courtyard. This is exactly where the keyboard warriors lose their minds. The quality is too good, the image too clear. Skeptics scream, "Fake, it's CGI, it's just a gym rat in a fur suit." They argue that no wild animal has muscles that symmetrical and clean. But pause right there and zoom in on that upper body. Look at those massive trapezius muscles. They hump up so high they completely swallow his neck. His head looks bolted directly onto his shoulders, a skeletal trait of great apes that is nearly impossible for a human in a costume to fake naturally. If that is a guy in a suit, he would have to walk around, shrugging his shoulders up to his ears the entire time, which is physically impossible to sustain while moving that smoothly. And the money shot comes at the very last second. He stops and looks dead into the lens. That isn't the confused look of a deer in headlights. That is pure arrogance. That square, stone-cold face is saying, "I know this plastic box is watching me, but I don't care, because out here, I am the law." Do you trust your eyes or your doubt? Is this an expensive rubber suit, or did we just stare down the scariest bodyguard Mother Nature has ever created? Bigfoot in Pain by Porcupine, the giant's mistake. We have witnessed the destructive power and insane speed of Bigfoot in previous videos. But this next footage proves a raw truth. Even monsters have bad days. The scene is a quiet night deep in the woods. A trail camera captured the moment the forest's boss encountered an unexpected opponent, a tiny porcupine. Look at this deadly curiosity. Instead of crushing the small animal or ignoring it, this giant acts like an overgrown child. He bends down low, hunching that massive back, and brings his face right in to investigate what is crawling on the ground. Maybe he thought his armor-thick skin and status as the apex predator made him invincible. Big mistake. In a split second, the porcupine's defense instinct triggers. Bam! Dozens of sharp quills launch out, embedding straight into the softest target. Look at this hideous face. The stark white quills are stuck all around his mouth and nose, the most sensitive areas for a primate. The giant's mouth gapes open, his hands flailing up in sheer panic. You can almost hear his pathetic roar of pain tearing through the silent night. The arrogance vanishes instantly, replaced by the raw biological reflex of pain. And here is the end of the ruler, turning tail and running for his life into the darkness, leaving his dignity behind. No more swagger, just a wounded animal looking for a place to hide. Many claim the quills on his face look fake or painted on, but look closely at his body language. The way he jerks back and flees without hesitation is a genuine reaction that no actor could fake so perfectly. This video doesn't make Bigfoot less scary. It makes him real. He isn't an immortal ghost. He is a creature that feels pain, bleeds, and fears the tiniest weapons of Mother Nature. Hunting or being hunted. We are usually used to shaky footage filmed from the ground, looking up in vulnerability. But this video flips the script, placing us in the hunter's vantage point, hidden high among the dense canopy. However, the line between hunter and prey has never been this thin. The cameraman is perched in a tree stand. The lens points down at a dry creek bed below, where the bushes are rustling. But what steps out isn't a deer, it is a pitch-black nightmare. Pay close attention to how this creature moves. It isn't sneaking and it isn't charging. It is skipping. Yes, your eyes aren't deceiving you. A massive, black mass of muscle is moving with light, rhythmic hops that are absolutely bizarre. This detail chills viewers to the bone. This playful, childlike action contrasts sharply with its monstrous appearance, creating an extreme, uncanny valley effect. Why is it skipping? Is it excited because it found someone's trail? Or is this a dance of death we have never seen before? The silence of the cameraman is equally suspicious. Why doesn't he shoot? Or is he paralyzed with fear? Look closely at the 10-second mark, when the creature suddenly stops mid-skip and tilts its head up. Even obscured by leaves, it feels like it is looking right through the lens, through the camouflage, and smiling at the trembling figure in the tree. The video cuts abruptly with the sound of a snapping branch. The final question: was this man out hunting a monster? Or was he the one being hunted all along without even knowing it? When the monster plays doctor, do you still believe nature is nothing but bloody slaughter? This insane footage is about to snap every biological rule you ever knew. A truck was crawling along the frozen Yukon highway when it suddenly encountered an unimaginable emergency case. Just look at this chaotic scene. Two heavyweights are locked together in the middle of the road. On one side, a moose, nature's tank. On the other, Bigfoot. At first glance, everyone screams, "He's killing the moose!" He grips the base of the antlers, pinning the animal's head down onto the slippery surface. But hold on, use your logic instead of your fear. If this were a hunt, the moose would be thrashing in its death throes and being torn apart. But here, it is standing still. Its legs only sliding slightly because of the ice. It is enduring and waiting. And Bigfoot? He isn't biting. He is using those dexterous primate hands and 1,000-pound strength to twist, manipulate, and pull. The truth makes experts shudder. This is a therapy session. During shedding season, old antlers often don't fall off on their own, causing maddening itching and pain. And when they can't solve it themselves, they seek out the doctor. Look at the way Bigfoot leans his entire body weight into it to create leverage. He knows the exact breaking point, the exact force required. He is helping his neighbor remove the heavy burden from its head. Sasquatch doesn't just know how to kill. He has intellect, he understands anatomy, and most importantly, he views this forest as his own private livestock pen. He tends to his prey not out of kindness, but to ensure his assets are always in prime condition. Would you dare drive up close to a doctor twice the size of your car? The living Bigfoot statue in the snowstorm. Let's leave the tropical forests behind and head to the harsh, frozen lands of North America, where snow covers everything in white. And right there, on that stark white canvas, a massive black ink stain has appeared, turning a picturesque window view into a horror movie. This footage was secretly filmed through the glass window of a resident's home. Inside, there is warmth and safety. Outside, there is bone-chilling sub-zero cold. And standing tall in the middle of the backyard, just a few dozen meters away, is a massive, black, hairy creature. The most haunting part of this video isn't the action. It is the absolute stillness. It just stands there, silent, motionless, not flinching a single millimeter. It looks like an ancient stone statue abandoned in time, ignoring the wind and snow whipping against its body. Skeptics immediately shout, "It's just a dead tree stump or a rock." But look closely at the body proportions. That tree stump has shoulders 3 times wider than a human, a head slightly bowed, and arms hanging down past its knees. No tree grows with such perfect primate anatomical accuracy. Why is it standing so still in the blizzard? Biologists suggest this might be a state of standing sleep or an extreme energy conservation method of the legendary Yeti. But our intuition whispers something far scarier. It is watching. It stands there like a sentinel, a silent reminder to the trembling family behind the glass. You are living in my territory. This silence is more terrifying than any roar, because you never know when that statue will suddenly snap into motion and charge straight for the window. The handshake of Bigfoot and Yeti. Forget Godzilla versus Kong. This is the craziest crossover event in biological history, or the most expensive prank the internet has ever produced. The scene is a snow-covered path deep in the night forest, where the temperature is cold enough to freeze your breath. From the darkness on both sides, 2 legends walk out in the flesh. On one side, the massive white bulk of the Yeti, the snow ghost. On the other, the dark brown giant, Bigfoot, the king of the woods. What makes the viewer's brain want to explode isn't just their appearance, but how they interact. By the laws of nature, 2 apex predators meeting should result in a bloody death match for territory. But no. Look at this chilling moment. They approach each other, calm, composed, and perform a gesture so civilized it is terrifying. They shake hands. That's right. They greet each other like 2 generals meeting on a battlefield. Skeptics immediately laugh. Look at that waddling walk. It's definitely just 2 drunks in fursuits on Halloween. They argue the fur is too clean, the gestures too human to be real. But let your fear speak for a second. What if that fur is real? This handshake proves a horrific hypothesis. They aren't mindless beasts acting on instinct. They are higher beings with language, diplomacy, and even strategy. Why meet in the dead of night? To exchange food? Or are they discussing a treaty? Perhaps they are planning a coordinated strike against the tiny, noisy, and weak intruders, us, humans. When the 2 superpowers of nature shake hands, the era of human dominance might just be counting down its final days. Do you find this funny, or are you starting to feel a chill down your spine? Bigfoot, trying to hide from a strange helicopter. Let's look away from the snowy forests and head to the scorching heat and rugged terrain of the upper Colorado River. The story begins when lead guide Logan Kirk and his crew of 12 decided to pull ashore for a lunch break. When they looked up at the hillside about 500 yards away, a dark brown ghost was standing tall, watching them. Look closely at this creature. That is not a black bear foraging for food. Bears do not stand upright on 2 legs with that kind of poised posture and massively broad shoulders. It stands there, motionless among the low scrub and dry, rocky soil, blending perfectly into the environment's colors yet still radiating a terrifying distinctness. Skeptics sneer as usual. It's probably just a guy in a ghillie suit pranking people. That is ridiculous. Who in their right mind would haul a thick, heavy fur suit up a precipitous cliff in the baking Colorado heat just to prank a random group of rafters passing by? Nobody. The scariest part here is its attitude. He didn't run away when spotted. He stood there, looking down from above at the tiny humans by the riverbank, like a king supervising ants crawling through his territory. He openly displayed his presence, a silent, arrogant challenge. This video is the clearest proof that Bigfoot doesn't just hide in deep jungles. He adapts, he camouflages, and he is always watching us from positions humans would never expect. Next time you go camping, remember to look up. The overseer might be standing right above your head. Sasquatch caught rushing on the peninsula's snowy mount. Don't blink. We are teleporting straight to December 11th, 2022, in the harsh wilderness of the Olympic Peninsula. If you think deep snow is the enemy of speed, this footage is about to slap every law of physics you know right in the face. The setting is a steep mountain slope covered in meter-deep powder. This is death terrain for humans. Without skis or snowmobiles, you would sink to your crotch and exhaust yourself after just a few steps. But look at that massive black dot tearing through the white perfection. He is running. Not trudging, not struggling, he is sprinting uphill. Let's analyze this insane biomechanics. To move fast in soft powder, you need terrifying lift power to yank your legs out of the snow with every step, while propelling your entire body weight forward without slipping. This creature is doing it with frightening ease, like a nuclear-powered icebreaker. Skeptics are screaming the old tune, "Guy in a fur suit." Really? Challenge any Olympic athlete to strap on a 50 lb suit and sprint uphill in deep powder at this speed. Their heart would explode, and their lungs would freeze before they made it 50 meters. His hurried pace in this video doesn't look like the panic of hunted prey. No, look closely. It is the urgency of someone who is busy. Maybe he is patrolling his border, or simply wants to cross to the other ridge before the storm hits. He doesn't care about the cold, doesn't care about the slope, and certainly doesn't care that we are watching in shock. He turns the planet's most treacherous terrain into his own personal morning gym. And the lesson here? On snow, you will never outrun him. The master of camouflage in broad daylight. Have you ever wondered why we rarely see Bigfoot, even though they are as big as a truck? The answer isn't magic. It is right here in this haunting footage. The art of invisibility right under your nose. A driver was cruising along a lonely forest road during the day. Everything seemed normal, but his intuition screamed that something was off. He slowed down and pointed his camera toward the edge of the woods. And that was when the tree stump moved. Look closely at that massive, brownish-gray figure. Before being spotted, he was utilizing the ultimate survival skill of an apex predator. Freezing. He stood absolutely motionless, his fur color blending perfectly with the dry leaves and rotting wood around him. He wasn't hiding behind a tree. He was morphing into one. Thousands of people likely drove past this exact spot without a clue. But the moment the cameraman's car stopped, a sign that his cover was blown, that statue exploded into life. He turns his back and bolts into the woods. Pay attention to his posture. That is not the waddling run of a startled bear. That is the long, powerful stride of a massive bipedal creature. Those broad shoulders and the menacing hunch of his back show that he is extremely annoyed at being disturbed. This video proves a terrifying truth. Bigfoot isn't far away. He could be standing right on the roadside, just meters from your car, staring at you through the glass while you're busy fiddling with the radio. He is the grandmaster of a hide-and-seek, and this time, the cameraman only won out of sheer luck. But here is some honest advice. Next time you see a tree stump with eyes, don't be stupid enough to stop your car. Bigfoot cosplayer? Dad's prank gone wrong. We have spent all day analyzing real monsters of the wild. But sometimes, the biggest threat to your sanity doesn't come from nature, it comes from your own parents. Welcome to the most brutal survival training session in history. The scene is a peaceful afternoon by the lake, where kids are playing innocently, completely unaware that doomsday is lurking at the tree line. Look at that creature lumbering out of the shadows. A massive, hairy suit, a menacing, swaggering walk. If you are a 10-year-old kid, that isn't your dad in a costume. That is the Reaper. Chaos explodes instantly. Look at the boy sprinting for his life on the bank. Primal survival instinct has been activated. Run now or become dinner. No hesitation, no brotherhood, every man for himself. This is the harsh reality of natural selection that this dad is teaching his kids in the most visual way possible. The funniest part lies in this detail: the dog. While the kids are screaming and scattering like panicked flies, the dog just lies there, calmly looking at the monster with a bored expression. He smells a familiar scent. He knows exactly that the giant over there is just his owner having a midlife crisis. The wife of filming left a caption: "My husband dressed up as Bigfoot, I'm done." Serious people might call this a cruel prank that causes trauma. But look at it from another angle. This dad just taught his kids a valuable lesson about constant vigilance. And more importantly, he proved a point. In this world, if you aren't fast, you get eaten. Or at least scared enough to wet your pants. So, we have just survived an insane journey. From massive footprints that shake the earth, to sprints that tear apart the laws of physics, and finally, that cold, dead stare of the Reaper in the woods. You can turn off this video, return to your safe life inside your reinforced concrete boxes, and keep typing. It's all fake. It's CGI. It's a guy in a suit. Go ahead, do it if it helps you sleep better tonight. You know that the vast wilderness out there does not belong to us. Accepting that a superior, stronger, and smarter species is lurking right behind the bushes, watching your every move, is a reality too terrifying to admit. But remember that chill down your spine you felt watching these clips. The next time you go camping, when you hear a branch snap in the dead of night, or feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up from an invisible gaze, don't try to delude yourself that it's just the wind. It is him, and he doesn't like uninvited guests. If you have the guts to keep facing the darkest secrets of this planet, smash that like button and subscribe right now. Don't let fear stop you. I am John, and remember, in the woods, you are never alone. See you in the next nightmare.